welcome back to another Sims 3 building video. Today we are going to be working on the castle museum that I have designated for the top of the mountain of my custom world, Stoneridge Valley. I'm going to be doing this video as a stop motion type of video. Stop motion is definitely not my strong suit. I would have to say it takes a very long time just to do, and I am definitely not very good at it, but I did try my best. This build really needed to be a more stop motion type of video because this build took me, it probably was the longest build I think I've ever spent on any project that I've ever done in The Sims. Even the secret mansion that I did that had a whole bunch of secrets and everything else in it, that took a really long time to build, but nothing compares to the building of this castle. What took probably so much time with this is every piece that you see when it comes to the castle pieces themselves, the pieces on the top, all the walls, everything about it, the circular pillars, everything is just individual pieces, and they all have to be placed in one by one, and some of them just, they don't always line up very well, so I had to put on some cheats. I did use a mod. It's a tool building mod to help me out with this. So just as a warning, if you like to do anything with constrained floor elevation, I highly recommend not to do that on this lot unless you're very familiar with that and you're comfortable with it, because some of these pieces for the castle really rely, depending on the area that you're in, is going to rely a lot on the elevation, and if the elevation gets changed in any way, they're going to shift and move. So just a little warning out there for those that like to use the constrained floor elevation. Just be very, very careful with it with this build. Now, of course, back to my rant on how long it took me to do this stop motion video. Let's just say it took a very, very long time. I don't even know how many hours it took me to build this. And then to do a stop motion of it was just, that took so long. I probably have 13, 14 hours at least minimum in just the stop motion portion of this video alone when it came to this castle. And as you can see, I didn't even do it individual pieces. I think if I would have done individual pieces and had it moved along like that, like a lot of the stop motion video that people do, I think I'd still be working on it. I think it would take me weeks. I had to do it in sections. It just had to be done. There was no way I was going to be able to do that and be able to execute it nicely. I think I would have gotten burned out and I would have probably dropped the project. So by doing it the way that I did, by bringing the parts or the pieces of the castle in level by level, section by section like this, definitely helped. I still had 1,000 probably or more screenshots alone just to do the stop motion. It was just ridiculous amount of time that it took me to do this, and it still isn't even that great the amount of time that I spent, because again, I'm not very good at stop motion. There's a lot of things that you can easily mess up on, and to go back and do it over and over and over again, like I just don't have the patience for that. Kudos to those people who do a stop motion for The Sims or anything really, and you take that amount of pictures and that amount of time. You have a whole lot more patience and a whole lot more skill than I do. But I did try my best. I hope the stop motion doesn't, I mean, it's alright. It's definitely not the best out there, but I did do what I could. Hopefully it does show you enough of the concept and enough for you to see how fiddly these pieces really are. Now, one of the things I do want to mention about it is the lighting is just not going to be very good in this build. I do apologize for that. There is nothing I can really do to fix it. The pieces to the castle kit really aren't considered walls. I don't even think the game really considers it being in a room. I'm not really too sure, but they don't light up very well. The lighting doesn't move around them very well at all. It's something that you'll see once you download the lot and test it out, but the lighting just is not the greatest. It just lights funny. And then doing the flooring, that was a headache, especially when I wanted to change it from what I was having it as a default. I ended up changing it to this brick that you can see here that's a little bit different than the stone that's outside. But you can't just have it fill the room. It literally fills everything on that level, including the wall structure that I have going around the property. I didn't realize that at first, and then I saw that and I had to go back through. It was so fiddly. Just everything about it was really fiddly. I do really like this kit. It's awesome. I think it's great. It did a really amazing job. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to create a castle without it. Will I continue to use this in future builds, this castle? Or the castle kit? Probably not, unless I decide to do something again that looks similar to like a castle of some sort. I probably won't ever use it again. Now, the furniture that comes with the full interior castle set, I might use those again. Those are pretty neat, especially if you want to go back in the times a little bit. But to build with these castle pieces, yeah, probably not. I mean, I did absolutely love it. I love the way the castle turned out and the way everything about it I just loved. But I probably won't really do it again. It just was, like I said, extremely fiddly. So, but anyway, just to kind of continue, you will need the complete castle kit for this lot. There's no way getting around that. I have no idea what the game will do or what it will replace if you don't have that. The entire structure that goes around, the entire wall that goes around this entire property, that is entirely built from this kit. And I would say probably half, maybe half or more of the castle itself is built from this kit. So you definitely want to make sure you have the complete castle kit from the store. And then the furniture that's used inside the castle, that is the full interior castle set from the store. I guess if you don't really have that, the game will just replace the furniture with something else. So like any of the lighting, it's going to replace with a corresponding lighting, a chair with another chair. So I mean, that's really going to be what's going to end up happening. But I highly recommend for this castle that you make sure you have that complete castle kit. It will definitely, like I said, I don't know what it'll do when it comes to these walls and everything else that I used. So I ended up, the castle seems a bit narrow. It is the one thing that I did kind of notice was the castle isn't very deep. I guess, I don't know if I really was intending it to be quite that deep, but I wanted it to be on the side of the mountain. But I guess I thought I had more room than what I really did, and it just, the taller I ended up getting, the more narrow it got, but I still think it turned out pretty good. Now, one other thing about the lot and the custom world is that I did run into a little bit of an issue. It's pretty much what it is when you download the world, it's going to have this nice river, and the river is in the build. You'll see it, it's there. That's what I have the wall going over, and we have the bridges and everything that goes over the river there. But unfortunately, because I did that with the custom world, that created it as an actual lot itself, and you can't actually plop this down. So I had, in order to plop it down, you had to delete everything or delete the lot that was already there, and then you could put it down. I don't really want that for the custom world. I want you to be able to take my lots and just download them and then put them into your game and not have to do all that extra stuff, all the extra steps. So in order for me to fix that, and I'm going to have to update the world itself, which by the time this video comes out and the download is ready, the world will be updated and ready for download. So if you've already downloaded it, you'll just have to download the new version and you'll have everything, you know, it'll be ready for this lot. So I had to go back into the world editor and I had to basically edit the area. The world will not come any longer with that river. I had to take that lot completely out, and I had to redo the rocks and everything on it because it was taking everything out. So apparently the giant boulders that I used in the world, if you place a lot on top of those large boulders wherever they happen to be, the game's going to get rid of them. The game only seems to keep whatever you have access to when you're in build buy mode, and that even includes the buy debug and the cheat menu and everything else. It includes all that. So if the item does not come in and you don't have access to it anywhere in the game, the lot will get rid of it. That includes the waterfall pieces that I added for the waterfall in Create a World. It deletes and gets rid of those. I wasn't very happy about that. It deleted about, not quite half of them, but it deleted a few of them. So I had to go in and basically simulate in the world editor what it was going to look like if I took the lot out. That way I could then go in and put some new rocks, and so I put some trees and everything over there. I think it looks pretty good. I still have, like I said, I do have probably half, a little bit more of the waterfall is still there, so we didn't lose that completely, but I had to change a little bit of the one corner, so it has some more trees and it has some more rocks. Rocks that you can get in the build buy mode, so that way when you put this down it doesn't look too much different anyway. So hopefully, like I said, it is going to change it a little bit when you put this lot down, but hopefully the change still looks pretty good. Another area that it changed was the waterfall area that goes up into that little pond that is a little bit higher than this lot than where the castle is sitting. It did take out some of the rocks there, and again, like I said, it has something to do with the big boulders that you can't access in the building aspect of the game. So again, that's another thing that's going to end up changing. So in the lot itself, I did make some changes over there to help try to fill in what we lost, and I did add a little bit more in the way of rock, so hopefully it doesn't look too bad. Thankfully the spawners or the effects for the waterfall, they were high enough up that they're not in the actual lot itself, so those stay. I was very glad to see that those did stay. So just a little bit about this castle itself. You'll see that I do have like the tub and a toilet right there in the master bedroom. I did that because castles, they didn't really have like a bathroom, I guess you could say. They just had a toilet that was, a lot of times they just had like a basin, and sometimes they would just throw it out the window, or in some castles they had an area where you could go and it just kind of dropped down the side of the castle. It's not very cleanly, but that's just the way they did it back then. So that's kind of what I'm trying to show with that one toilet. There's only one toilet in this castle, and there's only one tub. Now obviously they wouldn't have had tubs like that back then, but there's not a whole lot I can do when it comes to The Sims. But again, you know, I did do what I could with what I had. If you wanted your Sims to live in this castle and actually have it livable, it is possible to do. You'll just have to make some changes. You'll either have to use a mod to add your Sims to the lot because it's a community lot, or you'll have to change it to be a residential. It will cost your Sims a lot. We're looking at pretty close to 700,000 simoleons, I believe, that this lot is going to cost your Sims. And you'll just have to do a little bit of changes. Like I said, they can't fully live on it because there's no, I didn't add any fruits or vegetables or anything like that to the world or to the lot here. And there's no stove or fridge or anything like that at all. So you'll have to add a couple of things, but you could very well have your Sims live here. It is plenty big enough, and with some changes you could definitely do, you know, whatever you needed for them to live. Another thing that you're going to see is there's going to be some fog emitters. I show a few pictures at the end of what they look like. I put them in because that has to do with the lore of the castle. You'll read in the description when you download it, the lore of the castle. And then if you would like to try to figure out more of the story, as more items get added to my world and in the save file, more of it will start to appear and you'll be able to discover. So again, I hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments or suggestions, go ahead and leave them down below. I'm going to go ahead and leave you for the remaining of the screenshots. And like I said, hopefully everything is ready to go, and the new world, I will have an update hopefully by the time this is out in a video, and that way everything can be downloaded and look correct. And again, thank you very much for joining me for this build, and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.